Welcome back to the Hebrew Point of View. We are doing our last study on the book Adversary to Accuser, and we are going to be dealing with Mesopotamia.
Well, some of the other influences on Judaism and on the Jewish culture that led to the development of this whole idea of Satan.
Okay. And I know that I read in this chapter that you mentioned Gilgamesh and some other name which I've not heard of before, Ilud or something. Enkidu, yeah. I don't know what that is.
There was, okay, we'll get to the Epic of Gilgamesh in just a second.
Okay, but now you want to talk about other influences in the development of Satan, which is where we are right now, the Mesopotamian influence.
And I want to go back, just one step back, to our previous discussion, when we were talking about the god Pan, the Greek god Pan, who was worshipped in Israel, and they have archeological proof that this god was worshipped in Israel amongst Jews, not just foreigners, amongst Jews.
But you know, you didn't mention this, but if you look at the picture of Pan.
Well, that's what I want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is this god Pan important? Not only because Jesus talks about the God, or Peter talks about the dead God, and you are the Son of God who lives, or that Pan is the God who doesn't live. But Pan was worshipped in Israel among Israelites, and he was a god who is depicted with the lower body of a goat with hooves, the upper body of a man, and horns, and a tail.
Now you can actually show this to the
we have a picture.
Isn't that no? That's not similar to it.
We have a picture of Pan on the cover of this book. Now that's just obviously an artistic impression.
Yeah, that's not actually the picture that I've seen before. No,
there are many different pictures of Pan, but the point I'm trying to make is the picture we get of this ancient god who was worshipped in Israel is very similar to the picture that has developed in our minds of what Satan looks like.
Yeah. Well, what we've been shown, or what he looks like. Yes.
Yep. And of course, he was not only the god of sexual illicit behavior and frolicking and all the rest of it, but he was the god of fear and panic. And in fact, the word panic comes from his name, Pan.
Found that interesting.
Yeah. So his whole relationship with our concept of the devil today is very important, because it comes down from all of these influences, the pictures and the depictions and who he was. All of these things come down, they mix together in this melting pot of our understanding and interpretation of scripture and of translations, and we develop in our minds, in our thinking, this picture of this being. So that's why Pan is important. Let's get on to the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
This is the Mesopotamian influence, which goes way back. This goes way back into the origins of Israel and of the Hebrews and the Hebrew nation.
So it says that fragments of which were also found amongst the Dead Sea
Dead Sea Scrolls.
That's interesting.
Fragments of this Epic of Gilgamesh. This is the oldest. So
the Epic of Gilgamesh is a writing.
It's a story. It's a story, an epic. It's an epic, and it's the oldest epic that we have, talking about human relationship with good and evil, and our existence in earth and life and death. This is the oldest one we have, the Epic of Gilgamesh. You can get it online. You can buy it as an ebook. You can get it in the library. But it's a story of Gilgamesh and his sidekick Enkidu. And their adventures as they go and they do all kinds of exploits and what have you.
So this is Greek mythology, isn't it?
It's
or what is it?
It is. Well, what it is, it's not a true recorded story. It's an epic. It provides the mythological soil or background out of which a lot of the understandings that we have came.
Wow.
But I want to just mention one particular aspect of it.
Yeah.
In the course of their adventures, Gilgamesh and Enkidu encounter this evil being called Humbaba. And Humbaba is the personification of all that is evil and bad and fearsome.
You say fire and death.
Fire and death, yeah. Do you want to read what I have there?
You say in the course of their escapades, Gilgamesh and Enkidu encountered the supernatural evil adversary, Humbaba, a monster described as terrifying and having associations with fire and death. Humbaba is one of the oldest examples of a supernatural adversary we have in literature.
And that's what I wanted to bring to your attention. This comes from way back, and the Hebrews, the Jews, did not adopt this as a...
Is it a concept or a folk tale, or what are they trying?
It's a myth.
Okay.
This is mythology, but it provides the mythological background for the creation of this evil opponent, this fearsome, fiery opponent to good and the God, or the good God.
So this is Humbaba.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's important about Mesopotamia.
Although this epic did not directly create the Jewish idea of Satan, it did help shape the mythological environment from which he emerged. The influence was indirect and cultural. That's interesting. We have already discussed the volatile religious environment of ancient Israel during and after the exile, an environment heavily influenced by Mesopotamia. So the new ideas began to take root in the soil of Hebrew thought, ideas like cosmic conflict, supernatural intermediaries, personified forces of danger or chaos. So Humbaba epitomized the supernatural adversaries of ancient literature, and his monstrous and terrifying appearance contributed to the development of the Satan figure, which developed during Israel's post-exilic period.
Okay. You mentioned something there which I do want to talk about.
Yeah.
And the cultural influence. What does that mean? You see,
that's important.
We quote a lot of things and say a lot of things without really going into the actual meaning of it. The cultural influence on Jewish thinking is so important because it creates the context out of which things are written.
Yeah, culture is everything to all nations.
So what are we talking about when we talk about cultural influence? We're talking about the way people think and act, the things that they believe in, the things that they do,
the things that they die for,
the things that they ultimately would die for. Yes. What do they have in their houses? What do they wear? Why do they wear this?
That's right.
All of these things. This is culture, and culture influences thought, and thought and culture and thought and influence interpretations and understandings, and
create beliefs.
So writers, like we said in our very first discussion on this subject, writers write out of the context of their culture, the historic period of time in which they live, and that when they're writing, why do writers write? Why do authors write?
Expressions.
They write not only to express themselves, they write so somebody else can
read it. Yeah. Get knowledge.
There's no other reason to write a book,
of course,
unless you want someone to read it.
Yeah.
Okay? So they wrote to and or addressed their writings to an audience. And the audience was a specific culture in a specific period in history. And so the writers who are writing, they are writing to the audience, they are addressing them in terms in in terms of which the audience will understand. So the words they use, the concepts they use, the illustrations they use, the poetic language that they use is all designed to the audience or geared or directed to the audience that they are addressing. So whatever that audience is believing, doing, understanding, wearing, thinking, that's what they are writing to. So how do I express what God is saying here to somebody in that culture who believes those certain things, who relates to things in a certain way? How do I get them to understand what I'm saying? I take it and I put it into the language of the culture
of the day,
of that particular audience. And that is so important. That's going to become very important in our later studies when we get to the other things. But I want us to understand that right from the start, that culture is important. So if the Jews in Israel are worshipping, not all of the Jews, some of the Jews, if Pan is a god that is worshipped in Israel, it's affecting that culture. And the culture is relating to this god.
Yeah, they're responding to that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't only relate to it, but you got to respond to it, right?
And those cultural influences are influencing what people are writing, thinking, and teaching.
Yeah.
So scholars are writing and teaching in terms of their current way of thinking and the governing ideas and influences of that culture.
I like what you write here. As with all the influences we mention in the study, they are not adopted or borrowed from mythology, but are absorbed and reworked, emphasizing elements which have common associations.
Right, and that's important to understand.
That is very important.
So what I'm saying there is that the Jews did not take these mythological ideas, all these foreign ideas, and just include it into their scriptures and their teachings and their theology. They didn't borrow those ideas and say, okay, well, we'll use that and we'll use this, and that'll become now part of what we believe. But those ideas did influence and color what they believed, and some of those ideas were absorbed in certain ways, and we have different facets of thinking affecting what is written and what is translated. Now remember, I told you right in the beginning, our Bibles, every Bible that we have is a translation. A translation, either it comes from the Latin Vulgate, or maybe it comes from a Hebrew Masoretic text. No matter where it comes from, it's a translation. And the translation is influenced by the culture of the translator.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Absolutely.
And the translator is influenced by the culture of his day. And these influences that come upon him cause him to think in a certain way and in a certain direction. And when we come to discuss Jerome and the Latin Vulgate, this becomes very, very important. But all of these writers, whatever you're reading, if it's in the New Testament, if you're reading a record of the Gospels, the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Mark, they are influenced by the culture in which they are living.
So what about the Egyptian influence?
Well, the Egyptian influence is very minor upon the Israelites, but it also has these gods. You have the god that has the body of a hippopotamus and the head of a crocodile, and you have the one with the head of a jackal. And these are all just depictions of the embodiment of evil gods.
Yeah, the clearest parallel being that a person faces moral evaluation after death.
Yeah, so from the Egyptians we do get the whole concept and the theology of judgment after death, post-mortem judgment. So in Egyptian understanding of religion, when the soul dies, you are weighed against a feather. Okay? And the feather has a representation of measuring everything that is good. And if everything that you did in your life is good and the scale balances, then you go to the place of where good people go. Our equivalent would be
heaven.
And I use this in inverted commas, you go to heaven, but if your bad deeds outweigh the good, you go to the bad place, hell. What's important about Egyptian theology, though, is that their place for the sinners, the bad people, those who didn't measure up and weren't weighed correctly, and their evil overweighed their good, they were cast into a place, but they were devoured. And they came to an end. They weren't cast into an eternal place of suffering. That differs slightly.
Yeah.
But you know, what you can see here is all of Israel's neighbors throughout the thousands of years of their existence and their history have had some kind of an effect upon what they believe and what they think and how they interpret the Word of God and the understanding of the Word.
Yeah. All right, so let's summarize this and get to some conclusion.
Okay, we got to the end of this book, Adversary to Accuser. What have we established so far? We have established that in the beginning, in the Old Testament, pre-exilic period, Satan was Hasatan. It was the Satan, the adversary. It was a function and not a person. It was something that was done. We then traced that development of that understanding, where it was just a function, through Babylonian exile, through the influence of Zoroastrianism, through the influence of Greek philosophy, through the influence of the Mesopotamian story, the Epic of Gilgamesh. We followed all of these influences, and all the while, as we've been talking about this history and these biblical developments, the adversary is growing and emerging as something that he was not in pre-exilic times in the Old Testament. We see the appearance now of a person, a being, actively opposing God. Not fully developed, still in his infancy, but we have all of these ideas and influences that have led thinkers, writers, theologians, interpreters, translators to start to think differently about the embodiment of evil and the development of this being that today we call Satan or the devil.
Yeah.
So in our next discussion, we are going to trace the origin of Lucifer. And I'm going to talk about my little booklet called The Lucifer Myth and show you where Lucifer came from, who he is, and how he appeared on the scene, and how he is connected to what we have been looking at developing through the years and through theology as the person of Satan.
Okay, thank you for watching. Looking forward to you coming and joining us again. Don't forget to go to Amazon.com and find these little booklets. You can find them under Stuart W. Diesel Reynolds. If you want to search under his name and you'll find the books there. God bless you, and we'll see you next time.